Good evening, viewers. Night here, bringing you another video. So I figured since it's October, why not do my own reading of a creepypasta? And in case you don't know what a creepypasta is, it's basically an internet horror story, but way crazier than any red story you may see on some channels. And they can be based on anything, like video games, or board games, or TV shows, or whatever. Some of them are good, though there are quite a lot of stories out there that are called creepypastas due to how bad they are. The creepypasta I'll be reading to you is one that I don't think gets enough attention. It's called The Smiling Owl. Also, I tried to look up who wrote this story, but the site I found it on doesn't seem to want to tell me. So if you've heard this story before and know who wrote it, tell me in the comments below. Also, I'll have my character here pop in and out to provide some commentary where I feel the story needs it. Alright? Let's begin. With a terrible taste in my mouth, I awoke from a slumber that seemed so deep that it felt like I would never emerge. Having gone to bed at 1:17 a.m., it was now only 2:47 a.m. Dude, go back to sleep or you will have a bad rest of the day, trust me. My hour and a half of sleep had felt infinitely longer than that, filled with the twists and turns of the subconscious dream state, but now reality was all too real. Yeah, that's kinda how reality works. When I say this taste in my mouth was terrible, I don't mean that standard go-for-shit breath every middle-aged man has when he wakes up. I feel attacked. Should I feel attacked here? This taste was very abrasive and unusual. Not bitter, but sickly sweet. It made me want to vomit. The closest thing I could compare it to would be the aftertaste of some cheap rum mixed with liquefied candy corn. Dude, why would you do that to perfectly good candy corn? My bare feet touched the cold, hard ground of my new studio apartment, and I walked past my bedroom window into my bathroom. Looking into the mirror, I opened my mouth in hopes of identifying the source of this terrible taste, only to find that my tongue was covered in a white gunk, almost like plaque. And this is why you should brush regularly. Confused, I then brushed my tongue and teeth to eliminate the taste, but to no avail. Beginning to become restless, I then went into the kitchen, opening the cabinets one by one. I had my mindset on finding something to cut out this terrible taste. The best option I could find was some lemon juice, and I began doubting it like it was water. Frustratingly enough, the liquid glided over the plaque on my tongue like protective film, never even touching my taste buds. Throwing the lemon juice to the ground. That is waste of good lemon juice and you know it. I went back to my bedroom. Suddenly and all at once, I am pretty sure that's the same thing. I was aware of a presence. A warm, throbbing, almost painful sensation came over me, almost like an external source of nerve stimuli, boldly yet calmly letting me know that I wasn't alone. It was the kind of inherent self-awareness one would experience in a dream. Only this wasn't a dream. My instincts directed my attention to my bedroom window, to which, almost in a trance, I walked over to and then peered out of. What I saw was the vestige of an owl. Not a screech owl or a spotted owl, but more of a barn owl, I guess. It was very large and almost immaculately white. Okay, who dumped all the white paint on Rowlet? For the longest time, I was paralyzed, staring into its crimson saucer-like eyes. I didn't think Rowlet could use glare. I didn't know if I was frightened or intrigued. I would be both, because this animal wasn't just staring at me. It seemed to be looking relentlessly into me. After 4 or 5 minutes of this, the owl then, with an air of utter calm, smiled at me. And this is the part where you should get out a shotgun. Looking into its eyes, I felt strangely comforted. Why? Why would you feel strangely comforted? I feel no shame in saying that if it had been me, I'd have crapped my pants. The very minute I broke its gaze, however, everything changed. It was at that moment that the Fire Nation attacked. My tongue began throbbing with a rising pain that I can't describe. Almost like every individual muscle inside of it was tearing itself apart. I ran into the kitchen to put water on it, but it dried up like acid as soon as it touched. Panicking now, I put everything I could think of onto my tongue to alleviate the pain. Nothing seemed to be helping, but I was determined not to give up until the pain had abated. It was 10 minutes later that the swelling began, in addition to the pain that had not let up one iota. Now it felt like my tongue was being inflated with air from the inside. Oh my god, the tongue is a fetish. Barely able to close my mouth, I ran past my window again to my bedside. The owl was still there, with a smile as big as ever. Look at that stupid dude with a big tongue. Reaching for a bottle of ibuprofen, I think that's what the word is. I tried to down a handful at once, hoping it will help the swelling. Okay, I don't know if it's just me or anyone else, but this story kind of goes back and forth between past and present tense. I was unable to swallow though, and the pills fell abruptly out of my mouth. Nothing seemed to be helping, and in a complete act of desperation, I ran back to the kitchen, past the smiling owl, and to the silverware drawer. Okay, I know what's going to happen here, and in case you haven't read this story before, I advise you all to pause this video and go read for yourselves. Opening it, I reluctantly pulled out my sharpest serrated steak knife, holding my breath. I punctured my tongue with the knife, hoping it would release some of the pressure. That is incredibly stupid. Instead, all the muscles tightened around the knife hole, making my tongue's pain increase doublefold. No shit, you stabbed yourself in the tongue with a knife. Reduced to laying on the floor now. I did the only rational thing left that any human being would do. I put the knife in my mouth and began sawing at my tongue. Yes, any rational human being would do that. Doesn't sound crazy at all. The pain of the blade was nothing compared to what I'd been experiencing. Are you sure about that, dude? Once my tongue was halfway severed, I paused for a moment so as not to choke my own blood, which was now pooling around me quite dramatically. Lovely mental imagery you got going on there. You're really painting a delightful picture with words, buddy. Gagging on the knife blade. I'm not gonna keep doing that voice, by the way. I finished the job, ripping the remaining tendrils in half as I yanked the wretched thing out. Showering the floor with blood, my tongue lay in front of me, squirming and flapping like a fish out of water. I would like to take a minute to apologize to all my fellow piscivores who have either read this story or listened to other readings of it. Disgusted and mortified, as I imagine most people who read this story were. I kicked it across the floor into the bedroom. You imagine that thing against your foot, and closed the kitchen door so as not to see it, and even worse, hear it. So hold on, your kitchen connects to your bedroom and your bedroom connects to your bathroom. Plugging my mouth with paper towels, trying desperately to maintain the bleeding, I sat crouched in the corner, suspended by shock and disbelief. As my heart rate finally slowed, I was still frozen with fear. What the hell just happened? Is that a medical condition? Am I dreaming? Well, you said during the start of the story that you weren't dreaming, so no. What was with that owl? Was that an owl? Then, all too suddenly, the most horrifying revelation came over me. Was it? I'm going to bleed to death because I cut out my tongue? The owl smiled at me through the window. It's anatomically impossible for an owl to smile. You don't say. Overcome with a raw sense of primordial dread, I realized the truth. That's not an owl. There is no owl. That's not an owl! And apparently he screamed this part to himself. I don't know how he managed to scream without a tongue, but the glowering question now remained. If it wasn't an owl, what was it? I was beyond caring. I didn't want to know the truth. I didn't even want my tongue back in that moment. All I wanted was to get away from that owl and back to placid safety. That is when a swooping noise broke my train of thought. Quickly, all fell silent, almost as if things were normal again. After waiting, I slowly opened the kitchen door and found the severed tongue was gone. Approaching the bloody pool on the ground, why? I looked out the window once more, which was now strangely open, staring back at me with crimson eyes. The owl was still perched on its branch, posed to open its mouth. What happened next was beyond my realm of understanding. I know it was impossible, and yet it happened anyway. The owl opened its mouth, and with its brand new tongue, spoke to me in an unholy voice. Its smile spread wider than it had before, revealing a pearly white set of teeth. It was at this point that I blacked out from fear. Once I awoke, the owl was nowhere to be found. The bleeding in my mouth had clotted, and I immediately gathered my things and went to the hospital. Once I was in the emergency room, having to communicate with a pad and pencil, I informed the chief surgeon of where I'd come from. A look of general unease came across his face, as he reluctantly told me the previous tenant of my apartment had come in 1 month prior, mysteriously missing all of her teeth. Well, I hate the story, huh? So, did you folks learn anything? I sure know I did. Never wake up at 2:47. Thanks for listening, and please share your thoughts with me.